Hey team, I thought we would go over the breathwork, the spine positions and your basic Pilates exercises for if you're brand new, that you can just come on in and be comfortable with the movements. And if you have been coming for a while, this is a really good refresher for you. All right, so first of all, breathwork. Don't get too caught up with the breath, but it's important that one, that you're breathing, and two, that you're using your breath for the activation. So I always explain breathing from the rib cage like a piano accordion. So the inhale breath, the rib cage expands, and then exhale breath, we want to feel the ribs are wrapping together and downwards towards the hip bones. At this point, the lower belly is fully relaxed, and it's just those upper abdominals that are coming together and releasing. When you start to move into activating through the lower belly for bridging or for imprinting the spine, we would lift our belly button up and in towards the rib cage and then release it off. So often it just looks like a tiny little tilt of our pubic bone towards our nose, but your bum stays relaxed here. So if you're doing this in sitting and you're just practicing that rib cage breathing, your butt is fully relaxed as you come in, and you should feel that your tummy completely fires up. And then on the inhale, everything releases. So remember, just as important that we can deactivate as it is that we can activate all those muscles. All right, let's take a lay down on our back now. My feet are down on the platform extender because the spring is fairly light. All right, so neutral spine is you have a hand underneath the small of your back, and then on your exhale breath, your rib cage comes downwards towards the machine, but your hip bones and pubic bones stay square. So you can even put your hands on your hip bones and make sure that you're consistently holding nice and square there, but trying to bring your rib cage down. Or you can pop a hand behind the lower back. Imprinted spine is where you have no gap underneath your back and your hip bones are pulled slightly upwards towards your face, so your pubic bone is tilted and there's no gap underneath your lower back. Your bum is relaxed when you move from neutral into imprint. So we do that by using our belly. I'll just lift my hands up so you can see that there's no gap, and there is a little tiny gap underneath the small of my back. When you go to roll into your bridge position, it's the same tilting of the pubic bone, and then you keep your glutes nice and soft, maybe to about halfway, and then you can start to activate your butt to bring you up the rest of the way. At the top there, the pubic bone is still tilting towards your nose and the rib cage draws together. So you've got one long line. Inhale at the top and then exhale, slowly peel your spine all the way down onto the reformer, rolling all the way back through neutral, so that's back through that little gap, and then tilting to roll up once again. And again at the top, you're watching for the rib cage still tucking into your body, and then you slowly roll down. So we want to sink through the ribs first of all. You're continuously pulling your tailbone, rounding through your lower back. When you do that, you should feel a nice stretch in the hip flexor and quads, and then releasing all the way down. Through neutral, we use the exhale breath to roll up. I'm just going to bring my hands upwards. Our inhale happens at the top, and again, we check in that we've got our ribs sitting down in our body, our pubic bone sitting high, and then you roll all the way down. I'm going to leave my hands up here. I've come back through neutral and I'm going to hold neutral for my chest lift. So exhale breath, you round your upper back, inhale at the top, and then exhale, come back down. So notice that when I lift up, the bottom of my scapula is just down. So the higher up that you can curl with your rib cage, so my ribs are really pulling downwards and into the reformer, the less that you're going to feel in your neck. So we're definitely using our ribs to lift up, and then we come back down. Exhale, breath, lift. So I've still got a neutral spine, I've still got a tiny little gap there, and then we come back down. Pausing at the bottom there. spine twist. So our arms would come to a T shape. I'm just going to step my feet back up onto the foot bar here. The legs glue together. The legs come to tabletop, and then you rotate towards the mirror. The shoulder here, you want the shoulder to be drawing down as much as you can, and then you use your exhale breath to come back through the center. So we want to move first of all from the ribs, and then allow the rest of the pelvis to follow suit as you move from side to side. You can also do this with your feet down. So we see this as a back stretch. It absolutely is, but we want to treat this as oblique activation. So where we're drawing from is we're drawing the ribs down and then going across. Back to the center. Holding nice and strong in your neutral position. If you need to check to see that you can actually fire the muscles up, you put your fingertips an inch in and an inch down. And if you are to make any kind of noise or movement, you should feel that the muscle pops up in there. That's your TVA muscle. One leg up, see if you can keep it on. Other leg up, see if you can keep it on. So ideally we want this muscle to be on, but still neutral. So I still have this little gap here, and then I lengthen out one leg, draw back in, other side. So when my leg lengthens out, so I'm just lifting my head so I can talk to you, my toes are in line, but my leg is on the diagonal from my hip. So often we want to go lower than what's necessary. The movement is about control. It's control in our belly, control in our hip flexor when we lengthen out our legs. So the toes are still in a line with each other. You don't need to go any lower than that. One more here. And then we'll take our feet down one at a time. Chest lift with rotation. I'm going to bring my hands to baby shark because shoulder blocks are in the way. Exhale, breath, lift up. So your baby shark hands are right in the center. And then you take your baby shark hands to your middle of your thigh. So the middle of your chest is aiming towards the middle of the thigh. That's our rotation. So it is not very far off the center line. It's controlled as we move from side to side. We want to be able to keep our shoulders off the carriage. So we just ribs are down. And then our head, neck and shoulders come down. To get up off the reformer, you can either lengthen your legs long and roll up, or you pop your hand down, you swing your legs off to the side as you roll up and scoot forward. I'm going to show you the rotation again in sitting. It's something that we see quite frequently when people rotate, that they really want to swing their whole body in it. That's totally cool, but we work in the control range. So your rotation, if you're in kneeling, is very small. So it's the same thing that you do in your chest lift. Spin around to this direction. So it's not a big dramatic movement. It's pretty hard to show on the camera. We'll always correct you in classes anyway, but I just wanted to give you a little refresher. The other thing we get, sideline glute work. So to get into the position, I always tell you to sit your butt all the way down, swing your legs up and lay down on your side. Okay, so hip bones are stacked, one hip bone on top of the other. This top hip is shifting up towards the green wall. So you can see that when I'm just slouching here on the carriage, that my rib cage is down and I'm shortening up through the top waist. So you lengthen your top waist, automatically your bottom oblique has to help hold you up, which is why I encourage you to keep your ear on your bicep. I'll show you what it looks like when you're here. So see, we have this shape. It's harder to lift up underneath your rib cage when you're just hanging out there. The easiest option is down here. As you get more and more advanced, the next progression with sideline glute work is to be up on the forearm, making the triangle shape from your hip to armpit connection. So we're holding through there. That is so that you can get oblique work and bum work at the same time. Yay! Anyway, I hope you found this helpful. Have a great day.